Oh yeah. All right. Welcome again, everybody, to another episode of the Jerry Foster SEMO Music and Arts Podcast. Today I have an artist, an amazing artist, a hair artist. She comes in at 5'4", 130 pounds, a rock solid hard-earned muscle. She is the current women's welterweight UFC champion. I kid. She's an amazing singer. She's an amazing stylist. I'm proud to call her my friend. And I hope we get some good stories out of her. So please, everybody, welcome my dear friend, Miss Melody Miller. How are you, Melody?
I'm doing great.
Did you like that introduction?
Sure. A little over the top, but...
Yeah. All right, let's get people caught up. Where are you working at today?
Okay, I am working at TJ's Hair Salon.
Right on.
Yes, I love it. Love it. Tom's good to work with. So.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So now me working at Sheer Expressions, do you view me as competition?
No, not at all.
Is it bizarre that you and I'd be sitting down and talking about our salons and...
No, not at all. I don't... there's plenty of clients for everybody the way I look at it, so...
Plenty to go around, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and I think it's really cool. Because first and foremost, we're buddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hairstylist second. It's kind of neat. When I first started this podcast, I told everybody it's going to be primarily about music, and we're going to get into that with you too, because you're an amazing singer.
Thank you.
In fact, that's how we met. We'll tell that story.
Yeah.
But I also said I wanted to get stylists in here. I want artists of all types. I've had a cook on here, a chef.
Wow.
I've had a photographer, and now a hairstylist, which I think that's definitely befitting of the word title of artist. So thank you for taking time out and coming over here and doing this today.
Not a
So you're
problem.
working at TJ's.
Uh-huh.
What does that stand for?
You know, it might be his nickname he had at one time. I don't know. I know I call him Tom, so.
Okay.
I mean, his name's Tom Pierce, which would be TP, so.
Maybe his middle name's Jack.
I don't know.
Tom and Jack.
I don't know. I've never asked him that question. I might have to do that.
Food for thought. Right?
Yeah.
So let's get into the let's talk about how we met.
Okay.
Because I think it's pertinent to SEMO music, because obviously that's a huge passion of mine is music.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I meet you?
Oh my goodness.
I know where it was. You want to tell the story? You want me to tell it?
You go ahead.
It's not a bad story. There's
You
nothing
go
juicy
ahead.
involved.
No.
It is a very, very platonic buddy. I was helping my buddy Roger Mattingly, who sings for Cinderblock, and was, incidentally, he was the first guest on this show. He was
That's
the first
awesome.
podcast. I think you're
Cool.
podcast number 12 or 13, by the way.
Wow.
Had a glitch in my system and wasn't able to do some podcasting. But anyway, he was over at the Office Bar and Grill, owned by my friend Pam Overfield. And I was in there helping him do karaoke. And one night, this little mousy blonde-haired gal gets up and does Edie Brickell's I'm not a winner.
What I am?
Yeah, What I Am. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, because nobody gets up and sings Edie Brickell in Southeast Missouri, but not only does it, but pulls it off and sings like a bird. I was like, I was doing some recording, and I never approach anybody in bars. I'm bashful. I'm a very shy guy. Of course, at the time, I was drinking, so I had some liquid courage.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I've got to talk to this girl because she's one of us. She's a singer. She's a singer. She's one of us. She's into the music thing. She is one of us. I've got to know her because she's an unknown. And I remember walking over and I'm like, hi, my name's Jerry. You sing amazing. I can't remember what I said. Do you remember?
I never know what to say whenever people come up to me after I sing, and they tell me, good job, I'm like, all I can do is say thank you, but I enjoy it. It's always been one of those things with me, getting up in front of a crowd and kind of letting it rip, and I get to meet awesome people like you.
Oh, thank you. I've seen you work a crowd at karaoke. I remember one time the karaoke system shut down. I think you sang the national anthem. And it worked.
Yeah. kept everybody going.
So why keeps you from starting a band?
Well, you know, there comes a time in life where you have different priorities.
I understand
and,
that.
You know, I am a single mom. You know, I got 2 awesome little girls, you know, 8 and 10. So, granted, yeah, singing is one of my dreams, but they're part of my reality. So they kind of bring me back down to size. Now, granted, in the future, you know, they won't be under my roof, you know, forever. Yeah. So there's still hope to do something.
Can I snag you up now? Can I just kind of put you on layaway?
Put me on layaway? Sure. Sure, why not?
Can I put you on layaway for a band? Because I would make music with you.
Yeah.
And I want to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
At some time, not necessarily today, would you be willing, because I'm working on a solo record. You've heard some stuff before we started. Would you be willing to do some oohs and ahs?
Some oohs and ahs?
You know.
Yeah.
Do some,
I could do that.
some harmony stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that wouldn't cut into family life or anything like that?
We'll see about how our schedules work out, but I'm sure we can work something out. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So have you ever been in a band?
No, I used to get paid to sing karaoke down in Texas.
Oh, you got to tell me about that. How'd that work?
It was awesome. It was at a Graham Central Station in Waco, Texas, and I got hired on to sing with. We probably had 8 different singers, and we would all stagger in between the customers that would sing. But we were more of performing karaoke. We actually had a room backstage to where we had outfits and wigs and
no way.
Yes, a whole entire wardrobe get up. That way we could dress up whoever we were singing. Like, let's say I would sing Reba McEntire. They had a big old curly wig and a western outfit I'd put on. And then, of course, Alanis Morissette, you know, long black hair. And, you know, I rocked it. I tried. Madonna was always my favorite because I could always pull her off, you know.
Now, you have a thing for Reba McEntire music.
Yeah, I always have. I was obsessed with her when I was growing up. I just loved her music, and that's where I actually got my most music inspiration was from her, you know.
That is so funny. And I thought of you a while back. I was over at my friend Diane's house, and she has this little girl named Molly who is obsessed with Reba McEntire.
Really?
And I was like, wow, that reminds me of a certain somebody I know. Because I remember you telling me in the past you listened to a lot of Reba growing up. It was one of those voices that just does something for you, makes you feel good when maybe you're not feeling well or something. For me, it was the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like whenever I was down and out, man, I'd listen to the Beatles, and I just felt like I was a part of the world again. And I just felt good.
I grew up listening to Phil Collins too. You know, a lot of his music, you know, really...
That Take Me Home song's pretty good, isn't it? Or Susu Studio.
Just some of those, you know, it brings you back to whenever you were a kid, you know. It just brings back those feel-good feelings, you know.
Absolutely. And speaking of feeling good, without going into any, you know, major detail, I'm not afraid to share little bits and pieces of what I've gone through. I've battled with anxiety and post-traumatic stress. And I remember whenever I went public with that, you were like on that. You were real supportive, and that you would pray with me and tell me it's going to be all right, and I'm supporting you, getting help, and I'm proud of you, and blah, blah, blah. So publicly, because there are going to be some people that listen to this, I want to say thank you, because it helped me whenever I really didn't feel like there was a lot of people that
had your back.
Had my back, yeah. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You were very, very much instrumental in me feeling like there was hope when I was going through trying to get sober and going through the PTSD therapy. That was really, really cool.
One thing that I think is important for everyone to remember whenever you're going through a hard time, you know, just like you yourself, dealing with anxiety, you're not the only person dealing with those same issues. And just knowing you're not the only one and that there's others that are dealing with those same things, it's that in itself kind of helps.
The strength in numbers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you feel so isolated. When otherwise you think, I'm the only person that understands. I mean, there were times I remember even thinking, I'm the only person that understands, blah, blah, blah. But here we are. It's a year later.
Oh, I know. And
things are amazing, The things are so amazing. Life has turned out good. And but I wanted to say thank you for being there when life was just absolutely, whew. I remember calling you many nights and being like, I need someone to pray with me. I need someone to pray with me. I need someone to pray. And you were always on it. Like, just, you never let me down. And that's really cool, man. So,
happy to be there for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. After the karaoke thing, were you able to pursue any other avenues with music, or what brought you to Missouri?
Well, I actually have grew up. I started out in Springfield and then ended up coming to Poplar Bluff,
Gotcha.
And when I was probably in second grade when I moved to Poplar Bluff. So, and but yeah, so this is really my roots. What
Gotcha.
I feel like is my town.
So when were you in Texas?
That was after the Air Force.
Okay.
Yep. I got discharged from the Air Force, and it was a general under honorable conditions discharge. But apparently I wasn't their cup of tea. But honestly, I took it as a compliment.
It's not for everyone. I think it's a compliment to get booted out. I didn't. I served my 6 years, and
well, I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks. I appreciate your service or your attempt at service or whatever it was. We don't have to get into all that. But hey, at least you tried it.
Yeah, I did.
It's not for everybody.
They
it's
knew.
Really not.
They knew that I was talented as far as beauty goes, because I was cutting hair in basic training with Fiskars scissors. Anyway, and they called me. My TI would sing Beauty School Dropout to me, and
had you had any formal training in hair
no,
at that point?
No, none whatsoever.
So what were you cutting hair with? What kind of scissors?
The kids' scissors, like the little kids' scissors, the Fiskars.
That are absolutely not meant for hair.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
But that's all we had access to in basics. So that's what I used. The girls, they would get tired of their hair being below their collar. Because you have to have it up and looking so prim and proper and everything. And they would want it cut off, so by golly, I'd do it.
Well, man, I got to say this about Air Force girls versus Army girls. This is not a slam against the branch that I, served in and loved and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Force girls have it going on. They've got it going on compared to Army girls. They're just not as homely. Anyway, and that sounds like I'm slamming the military.
No, it's just they gotta be up to certain.
Something's up there. I don't know. The girls in the Army are,
It must be something in the food or something.
Be. Oh, yeah. Speaking of food, Army Chow Hall is not even close to comparable to Air Force food.
Really?
Oh, God. Air Force chow halls, or whatever you call them, cafeterias. Mm-hmm. They're like little restaurants compared to Army chow halls. They really are.
One of my favorite things was the omelets. You could pick and choose what you wanted on it. I was in heaven. But I also put on the pounds.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. When did you realize you could sing?
Well, it's not about realizing I could sing. I guess I was in choir, and I sang in church when I was really young. And I think I sang in front of my high school. I got really brave one time and sang a Richard Marx song.
Which one?
It was, I think, Wherever You Go. Waiting for You, I think.
Will you sing a couple lines of that for us?
Why, heck no. Not right now.
Oh, come on.
You gotta clear let me clear my throat.
You don't have to.
Thank you.
You don't have to. I just want people to understand how good of a singer you are, because unlike, goofball like me who's always putting music out. You're not as hurt as I might be or whatever. Okay, so let's talk some hair. When did you go to hair school?
Oh my goodness, it was 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yes.
I can attest to your haircuts. They are good.
Thank you very much.
As you have cut my hair many times. And
I love it.
You do seem to like doing what you do, and I think that makes a huge difference.
You got to love what you do. Otherwise, you'll be miserable every day of your life.
I try to get that over to my daughter.
Good luck with that.
It's like, whatever you do in life, just money is great, but that's not success. Success is happiness.
And loving each and every day.
Yes, because that leads to good health. So, how could you, like, there's times in the past I've tried to explain to people, they're like, they would ask me, you know, how does a guy like you get into the hair business? My first joke is to meet chicks. It's not the truth, though. It's really not. I have been fortunate and met some very nice gals. But to me, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to be a professional musician. For whatever reason, I didn't go for it, didn't have the confidence to think I could or would, or the people to say, yeah, man, go for it, or whatever. But with hair, you get to be really creative.
I love it.
And you also are kind of, you can be entertaining. Like in the past when I worked for a chain salon, who I'm not going to mention, I would oftentimes be very entertaining. Dance around with my clients, sing, act silly, crack jokes, blah, blah, blah.
It's part of the fun of being a hairdresser, you know.
Right. So what I was going to ask, what parallels do you see between, like, say, doing that karaoke thing and then doing hair? I mean, obviously there's going to be some differences, but what are some similarities, would you say?
It's funny you ask that because I've had some clients ask me, are you going to serenade me today? Just because, you know, I hum along, you know, and I sing along. If we're not talking, you know, I sing to my clients, you know, at times.
Oh, yeah.
You know, other times more often, you know. Just, it all depends on the person and the client. And one thing that I love about being a hairdresser, but yet it's an oxymoron, whenever people come in and they sit in your chair, they need you to play a certain role, being their hairdresser. They can come in sad and depressed. You can deal with someone like that, and you really have to, that's whenever you really have to care. It's sometimes hard to know what to say, but then there's other people, it's like a party whenever they come in, you know, and it's so much fun. And, you know, it's just like every person that comes in, they need you to be a certain person in a certain way, you know, depending on whatever they're going through in their lives. Because not only do we do hair, we relate to them on a different level.
You get very personal with your clients.
Yes, and I absolutely love it because my clients, I love it the fact that not only do they have faith in me on their hair, you know, and what their personal appearance is going to be, you know, to the public, because that's people's first impressions, you know, what you look like, you know. And if you're not happy looking in the mirror, you know, you're going to have a bad day, you know. But to be the person that can deliver that is one of the best feelings in the world. You know.
And that also goes for men. Make no mistake about it. Nothing can build a man's confidence the night he's getting ready to go out on a date with somebody or whatever the case may be. If he's going to something where he wants to look good, man, a fresh cut is like,
to get that perfect haircut, it's like, yeah, I got this. You know, we kind of set people up to do good in life, you know. I don't know.
There's a lot more to it
job.
Than...
It's a whole heck of a lot more than just doing hair, you know.
Oh, yeah. How many times have you, and you've been in it 5 years, I've been in it, 14. How many times have you cried with a client?
Oh, my goodness. I'm not much of a crier, But a lot of times I swallow it.
Yeah. How many times have you almost broke down and cried with a client?
There's been many times, too many to count.
Yeah.
Just because when they're going through something, you know, I'm speechless sometimes.
Sure.
To where all I can do is console them by, you know, doing their hair. You know, sometimes it's just, you don't know what to say.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Have you ever, okay, I know that there's a fine line between professionalism and becoming a friend to a client.
Yes. Very hard line.
Have you ever crossed it?
I would say no. Because I think that you have to be your client's friend. That's part.
So you don't think there's a big concern of you're my client, but also when I see you out in public, I'll go to dinner with you and chat. And I'm not talking about a date. I'm talking like whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You don't see anything wrong with that, do you?
No, not at all.
I don't either. Mm-mm. Now, having worked for a corporation, it was suggested we not do that. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Because you're dealing with human emotion. Mm-hmm. And when you're dealing with human beings, no matter how much they may want you to look at them as numbers, no, you're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. These are the people in my community. These are the people that come to me, like you say, whenever there's, I mean, I don't know how many times someone's lost a family member, a husband. I've even had one whose child was murdered.
Oh, my. I can imagine.
Yeah. One lady, she comes in. She's the grandmother of a baby that didn't make it.
Oh, my.
You can't just look at them as, okay, well, what can I add on to your service to make more money?
Yeah.
You know, and if anyone ever tried to, I was always a rebel. I was like, no, F that. But anyway, so basically what I'm trying to establish is people become much, much more than just clientele. Mm-hmm. They really do become a part of your life.
They do.
Whether they even know it or not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whenever I am driving home at night, the problems that my clients have come to me, you know, with, I'm thinking about them on my drive home, you know, and there's some times that I'm just a nervous wreck because I know what this person's dealing with, you know, once they walk out my door, what they're going to be facing, you know, and,
we're being joined by Fuzz, by the way. This is Fuzz.
Well, hi, Fuzz. That's a cute little fur ball.
Are you allergic to cats?
No, I am not. I am not.
Well, she's earned her name. So I'm sorry. You were saying though, there's times you go while you're on your way home, you're thinking about your clients.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody knows me, I'm a very musical person, and there's times that I'm halfway home before I even realize I haven't even turned the radio on, and it's just like, whoa. That's when I know I've had a long, emotional, you know, stressful day. You know, because I know that I take on, you know, so much of what they go through, you know.
I remember a couple years ago, there was a gal going through, I want to say cancer maybe? Mm-hmm. And she was coming to you to get something done. Mm-hmm. How emotional was that?
Well, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, and it's hard to explain. You can't really put it into words, just because knowing that what they're going through, you know, there's nothing I can do to fix that.
Yeah.
You know.
How are they doing today?
You know, I think they're doing fine today.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had a lady, we're just going to swap some stories here. I had a lady in Ellington. She was in like stage 4 cancer.
Oh my.
But she was taking care of this veteran while she was literally dying. And she's not with us anymore, but she actually told me, she said, Jerry, I don't have any real reason to get dolled up. She goes, But when I come in here and you talk to me and you're acting silly, you have no idea how much I enjoy that. And it was like, oh my gosh, talk about putting things into perspective.
Back, yeah.
And I know as it is, I gave her last, year and a half of hair service, and it really had nothing to do with her hair. Yeah. It goes back again to that making connection with people. So let's get on a happy topic with hair.
Please.
All right, because I ain't trying to make anybody. Give me an example of like how it's changed your life in a specific way. Like in my brain, I've got several instances where I can think of how getting to do this has helped me.
Well, number one, whenever somebody looks at me right after I've done their hair and they hand me a tip and they say, thank you so, so much. There was one lady that she was teared up, she was so happy with
wow.
They were happy tears. It really takes me aback, and it makes me feel so good to just be the person that can deliver that for them, because I don't know.
Have you ever have you ever offered up services to someone and didn't charge them?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's my little way of kind of putting the good out there,
Yeah.
Granted, it's not something I want to tell everybody, hey,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's times whenever somebody's having a really tough day, I'll throw in, a little something,
One of the things that I've tried to do over the years, and I would imagine most hairstylists do, I will try to find somebody that's either like lost a job or they're job hunting and they're short on legs. Like, let's do a makeover.
Yeah, just give them something different.
Yeah, all I ask in return is that if you like it, let people know where you got it done.
Yeah.
But those are some of the most satisfying times in the salon, is knowing that
they're grateful.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what's it costing me? Time and a little bit of money, but I'm getting to give back, which is what I really need to be doing in life anyway. That's one of the cool things doing hair has allowed me to do, is to give back to my community. For a while, I was going to a place here in town, a shelter for men, and doing haircuts every week.
That's awesome.
And I'm not mentioning this to pat myself on the back. What I'm getting at is, no matter what you do in life, no matter what your talent is, whatever your career is, if you're doing okay in it and you've got the opportunity to do that, I highly suggest doing it, because there is a reward in giving back.
I mean, it's biblical. People call it karma, but
come
on, it's if you put out good, you're gonna get good. Sevenfold is what the Bible says, good or bad, whatever you put out. So, I always try to do my part as well.
Absolutely. What is one of your favorite services to do?
I love highlights.
Really?
I love brightening up the
brightening up the hair?
Yes.
Is there a particular haircut you're tired of cutting?
No. I love it all.
Not a stack swing bob? You're not tired of cutting those yet?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Are you? No, you're not tired of it.
I love those. Have you ever had a client that you just hope would never come back?
Oh,
I'm not ashamed to say it. I have.
Yes, I have. And actually, one of them was, fairly, within the past few months, and I was like, wow, is this day ever going to get over?
Did you feel bad feeling that way toward a client?
Yes.
Or did you get over it?
Well, you always get over it, know. I mean, at the end of the day, you're just like, well, at least they were happy in the end, but,
What's one of the weirdest things that's ever happened in the salon?
Oh my. Oh.
Like that you could speak of, that you would be willing to I realize you don't want to paint anybody into being a bad person, or
no.
You don't want to paint yourself into being this mean person that talks about people.
Well,
or anything like that.
there's some older older men, you know, that might come in and they might say a couple things that are kind of like innuendos, and I'm, you know, it.
Ever had anybody grope you?
No, thank God.
I actually have.
Oh my.
I swear I have. I can think of 2 occasions. And one, I was waxing a woman. She just reached up and cupped them.
Oh my gosh.
And laughed about it. Giggled about it.
That is absolutely horrible.
That's insane, isn't it? And I had another woman who had this thing for touching my backside.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my. I would never allow that.
I didn't allow it.
You didn't allow it. They knew it wasn't welcome.
No. They were promptly told, hey, that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm not running a Zohan kind of operation.
I have that movie, by the way. Don't mess with the Zohan.
I was just telling a friend of mine the other day, one of the things that always fascinated me, and of course I worked at a discount hair salon. It's a totally different atmosphere than a spa or a salon that's locally owned or whatever. And I'm not trying to trash the place.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
You get a different kind of clientele.
Yes.
And one of them I used to get a lot was people that were fresh out of the pen, and they had no problem telling you.
Oh, yeah.
I had a woman one time sit down in my chair, and I was like, hey, where have you been? She's like, oh, it's good to see you too. She's like, well, I just got out of prison. I was like, oh, how long you been back? She's like, oh, today. I was like, oh. She's like, yeah, I haven't even been
I had one of
She
those
said,
too.
I haven't even been home yet.
Oh my gosh.
She said my first stop was to come see my hairstylist because you can't get a good haircut in prison.
Oh, wow. No, I'd say not. That would be a luxury.
But I mean, I've had several of them tell me, oh, I just got out of the pen.
Oh my gosh.
I need a good haircut. Like,
Yeah.
apparently you cannot get a good haircut in prison.
Oh.
I don't want to test that. I don't want to know. I don't want to find out. But I just thought it was really weird that they would freely tell you that.
That
you know?
is just crazy. I'd be ashamed.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know unless I don't.
I've never
don't
been
know.
there, so I would have no clue how I would be.
There's some things on my body I want to keep a virgin. So yeah, I was just wondering if maybe you've experienced any like crazy stuff, because I know we've worked in totally different environments as far as hair goes.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different environments. Another thing that's really neat with cosmetology versus say a barber, there's so many different things that you can get really good at. I suck at updos.
Yeah, I actually love doing updos,
Yeah.
but I don't like the stressful situations where there's so many people to get done and everybody has to be perfect. And I am a perfectionist.
Yes, you are.
So it might take me a little bit of extra time to get those few strands of hair, just in the right spot. But it can get. I'm like going way off board.
No, that's all right. No. This is good. This is the kind of stuff I think that makes these podcasts interesting, is the little details of our jobs and our quote unquote art, because there is an art to doing an updo that I don't like jabbing bobby pins into heads. I feel weird.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna hurt somebody. It's like I have a phobia of honestly hurting somebody. And I become a nervous wreck. I break out in a sweat. And I've been doing this 14 years, right? And the number one thing you never want to do is let someone know you're nervous. Because if they pick up that you're feeling incompetent,
I know.
they're going to be like, you're incompetent. You're doing my hair.
And then the stress level just goes sky high.
So what are you saying your favorite thing in hair is?
I love...
You said highlights.
I love color and cutting.
Yeah, me too.
I have everything to do nails. I've bought everything, for manicures and pedicures and all that jazz. But that's not really my cup of tea. I know where my talent's at. And
what about waxing?
Well, I do love to wax eyebrows. And
is that all you're willing to wax? His face?
Yeah.
No, and I asked that because I'm getting ready to start offering full body waxing.
Wow.
And I've got people actually lined up to let me practice bikini waxing on them.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to hit you up. But I honestly do have. No, I've got
That's
about.
awesome,
I've
though.
got
That's
3
something that's
girls.
needed.
Well, and right, and I'm thinking, okay, how do I present this to the public? I'm a straight guy.
Yeah.
And I want to make the most of my license.
Yeah.
Including waxing your bikini area.
Yeah.
And possibly seeing and touching.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I'll tell you, they make. I did see something interesting at our supply house.
They make those drawers.
Yes. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's a good idea. So anyway, I did see those.
Yeah,
so
and I will probably pick those up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just from one stylist to another. I want your opinion. Do you think it's a good or bad idea for a dude to offer that?
You know, I honestly am not 100% sure. I don't know, but I dang sure would be offering the wax the underarms. And, you know, I mean, because that's something, you know. What is up with men that don't let you wax their eyebrows?
Oh, I can tell you that. They think that it's a woman's thing. It's a feminine thing.
I wax.
Like maybe you're going to arches.
No. I know how to wax without making them look girly, you know, but some men really need to clean up their eyebrows.
Agreed.
I will tell you.
And you're glaring at me as you say that. What the hell?
Oh, boy. That laugh was...
That's great, isn't it? That's all right. Laugh away. It's funny. Molly, my roommate, we've been watching videos because she was kind of the one who said, man, why don't you do bikini waxing? There's money in that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you know. And then we talked to a friend of ours named Tara, and she was telling me that she used to get it done all the time. She's like, why don't you do that? She's like, I would go religiously, front and back, Brazilian, everything.
Woo!
She's like, yes, just clean and
That
clean
is
cut.
one thing I have never, ever, ever done. But anyway.
But I mean, if there's money in it, and I can actually make money at it,
there's no reason for you not to.
Why not?
If you have
man
the
or woman, I don't
that,
care.
that's
Man, if you want
it.
that crap waxed, let's do it. Yeah, no. But I'm just wondering if it, because I'm real big on maintaining a decent image for myself. I don't want to come off as some pervy guy. I'm not known as being a real pervy guy. That's not my thing.
No.
Which is probably
You're
why
not at all.
I get accused of being gay. I'm not pervy enough with the women. But I just want to make money. That's honestly, that is what it comes down to. But then there's the other thing, like, okay, Jane Doe may be clean, but her sister might not be, so I don't know.
Oh, my.
So I'm trying to get as many ideas on that as possible.
Well, I will tell you what. If you're comfortable with it, I think you should go for it.
Yeah.
Because what have you got to lose, really?
A lawsuit.
I know, me personally, I don't know. That sounds really, really painful. And have you ever had a client about jack you in the face? There was a girl that came in one time, and all she would ever want is her eyebrows waxed. But, you know, you can tell those clients that are a little bit amped up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
On something, you don't know what, but they're on something.
Sure.
Well, this chick, she laid down in the chair, and I started, you know, waxing her eyebrows, and I ripped off the first one, and her hand came up like she was going to hit me in the face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, scared the crap out of me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, some people are just nuts up.
I
if
did
you're
have-
gonna do speed or pills, don't come in and get your hair did, because it's hard to do somebody's hair whenever they're dozing off and they're...
I literally have had somebody pass out while getting their eyebrows waxed.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
As well as getting their hair cut.
Yeah.
I have a crazy story for you. This one woman came in one day, took off her jacket. It was in the evening. Took off her coat. Crap went flying everywhere. And she's like, I bet I stole $200 in jewelry at JCPenney.
Oh,
I'm like,
my
oh,
gosh.
Oh, okay. And I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do. Do I call the police? Do I
wouldn't know
stay
what
out
to
of it?
do.
I'm like, okay, so what do you want done with your hair? I want a swing bob. So I cut her swing bob. As I'm cutting her hair, she asks me, do you like to party? And I'm like, sure.
How do I answer
Well,
that?
yeah. Well, then her mom comes in. Her mother sits down with about 5 bags from JCPenney sets them all out in the floor and just starts counting and looking at them and doing all kinds of weird stuff. Then proceeds to ask the daughter, "You have any more of those hydros or Xannies?"
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, "Oh, oops, I shouldn't say that." And the daughter was like, "Nah, it's cool, Mom. He likes to party."
Oh wow.
It was surreal.
Jeez Louise. Some people have lost their daggum
It gets crazier.
minds. Oh no.
They get on the phone and call the other daughter to bring them more pills.
Oh
And she proceeds to do so. As she's leaving the parking lot, she potatoes one of those things in front of the sidewalks that keeps you from parking your car on the side.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. She was so messed up.
Okay, now
Oh
it gets
my
even
gosh.
funnier. The following day, the girl whose hair I cut was next door at the nail salon. And I used to walk over to the nail salon, look at the news, say hi to my friends over there that have Nick Nail. And the girl is in there, doesn't recognize me at all from the night before.
Oh, wow. Wow, she has issues.
Well,
Jeez Louise.
yeah.
That's...
But I feel what you're saying about people coming in jacked up on stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've had
Luckily,
people...
I don't have too many of those. Thank God. But
What about parents that bring their kids in and they're scared and they say, "Hold still or she's going to cut your ear"? Do you ever have any of those?
no, thank God.
Oh, that's real
because
good.
I would say something.
I've had to say, look, that's not helping your child to make me out to be this mean monster.
Yeah.
You're just adding terror on top of already
That's
terror. You know, telling your kid I'm going to cut their ear.
That's
So
horrible.
for anybody listening who's not a hairstylist, who may have a little kid, please don't tell your child that we're going to cut their ears off. It's not cool. It's mean. It's hateful. Absolutely insane. So where did you go to hair school? Like, I went here in town.
I did too.
Okay, which one did you go to?
I went to Black River Beauty Academy.
A lot of people have went to that one.
I absolutely love Belinda Hester. She is a wonderful woman. She's doing great stuff at her school.
She's a sweetheart, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She is.
I was in the first Technical Career Center class.
Uh-huh.
Belinda comes in about halfway through as a student teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She was working to get her license to be a teacher, and it was really neat. She, bless her heart, she was so nervous. And
Yeah.
she'd be like, "Oh, gosh." You know? And then now here she is. She's thriving, you know. She owns a school, and I'm really proud of her. It's really cool that she's been able to turn it around. I was shocked when I found out she had one, though, because it was like she was so nervous, bless her heart.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, she's done so well for herself.
She's playing a very special role in every girl that goes through her school. I think is forever changed by her, just because she's one of those people. She doesn't force it on people, but you know, that girl's a believer in God, and she's not scared to tell anybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we would have devotions. You know, it was really, she touched my life, and I still go back to this day. I just went to go see her about a month ago. You know, just to visit her.
I went and visited her a couple months ago or so myself.
Mm-hmm. She's just one of those people, you know.
Yeah.
Very special.
Yeah,
Very
she
special.
is. And from what I understand, I've not met anybody that's went down there and was upset with anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she seems to be a really amazing instructor, and that's cool. That's very important to have that instruction. Because let's face it, when you're going through beauty school, you're basically learning basics to pass a test, and then you're going to learn a lot more once you're out of school. They just don't have the time
to spend
to hone up your skill to where you're going to be this seasoned veteran when you get out. That's not even feasible. That's not rational at all. So and you're scared, especially when you're first doing hair. You know, your first haircuts, your first perms,
yeah, you're terrified.
your first color, and you're like, "Oh man, oh boy." It's funny because I thought I was terrible. And my instructor said, flat out just told me, she's like, "Jerry, your skills might not get you through, but your personality is going to get you a lot farther than your skills if you don't." She was politely telling me I sucked but had a great attitude. But you know, sticking with it, perseverance. I think I'm a pretty decent hairstylist.
Well, I think you are too.
And I definitely think you are as well. Again, I wouldn't have let you cut my hair as many times as you have. So, what are your plans for the future with hair?
Well, I am very, very comfortable at TJ's Hair Salon.
Yeah. Where's that located, by the way? Let's push that.
Well, it is actually behind North Taco Bell and the Holiday Inn. If you make that left right there in between, we're on up the way, going up the hill. Right side of the road, there's a red and white sign, and we are in the lower section of the building. So, and it's really nice because it's really private. You know, we don't have a whole lot of walk-in traffic, so I don't get interrupted whenever I'm, you know, working on my clients, you know. And it's just me and Tom there, so it's not a whole lot of, you know. There's no drama.
We work close to each other now.
Yeah, we do.
That's cool.
I'm going to have to come pay you a visit.
Yeah, and vice versa. I'll do lunch or something. Yeah, swing by. Bring business. Bring clientele. I think it's really cool. And again, I think it's really neat that you and I are able to sit down and not view each other as competition, but just as two people that absolutely love to do what they do. I love doing hair as well. Like I said, the freedom of getting to be creative is so cool.
It is cool.
And I'm sure I speak for a lot of cosmetologists when they say one of the best compliments you can get is when a regular comes in and says, do whatever you want. I trust you. My hair is in your hands.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do it.
It's great.
Is that not an awesome feeling?
Yeah, it is. One of my clients was actually just telling me this past Saturday. She said, you know, you remember that one time I told you to do whatever you wanted and we ended up cutting it off and doing a swing bob? She's had that swing bob for the past couple of years and we're just now starting to grow it out, you know. But, you know, she just, going back in time, you know.
It's a very popular haircut.
Yes, it is.
I've got a very generic ringtone on my phone, by the way. I don't need it.
You don't need it?
Nah.
All right.
I'll check that whenever we get done with the podcast. I should have had it turned off. Well, in case it's my daughter, let me check real quick. I say that, but if it's her, Daddy is going to feel bad. I had somebody basically telling me they weren't personally attacking me about a political post I made about Bernie Sanders.
I don't post nothing.
Yeah, it did. And you know, I'll talk politics on this level here. I don't trust any of them.
Well, exactly.
I don't believe any of them. I think, you know, the guy probably has, you know, decent intentions, possibly. I don't know.
Well, they always say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I know we don't need Obama in there, and I sure as heck know we don't need Hillary in there, so she deserves to be behind.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's too many people that would
argue that.
Yes, exactly. So.
You know what gets me about Hillary Clinton? Her voice.
Oh.
It's that voice. See, here's what happens when women yell. And bless her heart, she just doesn't have a strong. It's just. It takes away all those feminine qualities that I absolutely love in a woman that separates women from us men. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to spit on you. But it takes away those amazing, soft, nurturing qualities that just does it for me in women. You know, I'm not saying a woman can't be a leader, but man, she takes away any and all.
That chick's got issues. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll just leave it.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, anyway, where were we at? Oh, I was saying that I think it's really neat that we can sit down and, you know, it's not, oh, I'm better than you, or what, and that nonsense. And it's really cool because there's kind of that in the music scene too. As I mean, if you've listened to any of the podcasts with the musicians, you just There's a strong camaraderie. I think that's really, really neat about this area is there seems to be a real sense of community these days. Among, I mean, there's always going to be competition in certain things, but I can think of 3 other salons I could go to, sit down, and just BS with the workers in there, talk hair. Hey, how's yours going? How's yours going? And you know, it's not a
thing. It's
no,
not a bad thing.
No, it's really neat. So I think that's cool. And I'm not saying that it's like that anywhere else. I don't know if it is or not. But I do think it's neat that when people are in the same profession but work for different companies, organizations, or whatever, cannot, especially during election year, not be bashing each other and talking each other down or whatever. I mean, but yeah, I think it's neat that we work by each other now. That's really cool. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, if there's any advice you could give somebody wanting to get their hair done, or how about this? I want you to go first.
I know exactly what I'm gonna say.
You go first. I'll go second. If you could give advice to somebody, period, about hair, what would it be?
Okay, here's what you got to do. Number 1. You have your client close their eyes. Be like, okay, I want you to envision yourself. What do you see? It's pretty powerful, you know, because people have a certain idea of who they are. You know, whenever you close your eyes, you know, what you want, what makes you feel good, you know. I get a lot of, you know, good response from that, you know, just by how people envision themselves, you know.
Sure.
You know, their true self, you know, because I'll tell you what, you get a bad haircut or you get a bad hair color, you know, and by golly, your whole month is ruined. You know, it can be I don't know, a lot of women go dark, you know, in the wintertime. I do it every year, and I hate it because I feel like I'm wearing a dark rain cloud over my head, you know. But yet, because I'm blonde, that's what I envision myself. So when I'm not blonde, you know, it just throws you off, you know. If you're not what you envision yourself to be when you look in the mirror, then there's issues. So it's pretty cool that we can give that to them. But yeah, that's how I do it to really get what they want.
The one thing I get is I'll get asked, and this is the one piece of advice that I just seem to have given to clients more than any other. I mean, and obviously we give a lot of advice on how to shampoo your hair and condition it properly, and what to do, you know, use protective spray and all that. The one piece of advice when someone comes in and says, what would look good on me? My reply is, anything that makes you feel confident. And it goes in line basically with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because confidence is always going to be attractive.
Yes.
Well, I don't care if you want to wear a green and purple and blue mohawk. If you rock that sumbitch with confidence.
You rock it.
And you wear that thing with confidence.
You can do anything.
It's still sexy. Confidence is what attracts the opposite sex to one another, or maybe even the same sex to one another. I don't know. But what I'm getting at, confidence is what we're all looking for in a mate to some degree. Unless your thing is to find beat down women and you want to control, you know, there's narcissists.
Well, those are just
that's narcissistic.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But any haircut that's going to make a man or a woman feel confident that they can wear that haircut with their head up, chest out, and, you know, a little swag to them.
Yeah.
That's the haircut they need. I don't care what it is. And that would be my thing. And I'm going to use your close your eyes and envision what you would look like in that. Because that's brilliant. That's really good. I'm going to steal that.
Thank you. You're not stealing it. I'm sharing it.
Okay.
So. There you go.
You put it down and I'm picking it up.
Oh, you're something else, Jerry.
And the other piece of advice I would give is really do get good shampoo and conditioner.
Oh, yes. That's very important.
Man.
It's very important. And every type hair is different. Different people's hair is different and have different needs. So ask your stylist what kind of shampoo and conditioner you need to be using, because that might be all you need to fix your do.
Yeah. I find the biggest problem, and then you can tell me what the biggest problem you come across, but one of the biggest problems I've come across in cosmetology is self-care of the hair.
Yes.
Not getting the ends nipped when they need to be. I mean, as soon as you see those split ends, cut them split ends, because they don't remain just split ends.
No, they become split
all
the way up.
Yes.
And then people don't realize, I used to have thick hair. Well, if you would get your hair nipped, and just to get a trim versus an all-out, hair change haircut.
Right.
You can go in and get a centimeter off your hair all over. We can lift your hair up and just take off the dead, because we can visibly, we're trained, we can see it.
Right.
So
absolutely.
It's whenever we get that off that the hair can actually grow.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Hair is like a rope.
Yes.
If it frays at the end, it doesn't just stay frayed at the end. It will unravel.
It does.
And that's how I try to get it over. And the other piece of advice I try to give people is this. If you're going to go from, say, you're probably, a level 9, 10...
On
certain
my ends,
spots.
On my ends.
Right.
I'm about a 7.5. I'm almost an 8 natural. So.
Okay. If you were to go to a level 1, it is important that you understand it's not going to be so easy to get it back to level 7 or level 8. And by levels, for anybody who's not familiar, think of black and white TV. The darkest thing you see would be a level 1.
And
level 10 is
a 10.
And the lightest is a 10. When you go dark, there's only one way to go lighter. You have to go in and take that color out. You cannot put another color on top of...
color will not lift color. You have to use lightener, and in using lightener with a lot of times, a lot of stylists you have to use strong developer whenever you get in there. So what the developer is, it opens the hair, and the hair can only be opened so many times. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so some of these people, by the time they come to me for color correction, they've already tried 2 other processes to try to get lightened, and then so by the time I get it, I'm thinking, oh, heck, what am I going to do with this hot mess, And, sometimes it's really hard to tell people what, that what they're wanting, they cannot get.
Not in a day.
No.
And not in a healthy manner.
No. I mean, it is, oh.
People
do not use box color on your hair.
No, it's terrible.
It's
it
bad.
contains sulfur, which is a metal. It's a metallic.
And it goes straight. It goes to the core of the hair.
Yeah.
And to get it out is hard on your hair.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stress that enough. That's just ugh.
Well, I regret that we waited till the end of the podcast to mention that. But will you do me a favor?
What's that?
Will you come back and do another podcast with me on hair?
Sure. I'd love to.
And we'll get more into, because really I'm just kind of using this podcast, the first ones with everybody, kind of introduce you to listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one we can really get deep into hair care.
Mm-hmm.
What we can do, things you can spot and notice to preserve your hair, things you're doing that can cause certain types of hair loss, certain medications, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yes. That
Pinky
sounds
swear?
Great. Pinky swear.
All right, there it is. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the SEMO Music and Arts Podcast. I'd like to thank my guest, Miss Melody Miller, for being on here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Stay tuned, people. We've got whole lots more in store. It's good to be back. You're my first one in like 4 weeks because my recording equipment, I had to do a complete reboot on it.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Well,
So it's good to be back. It's good to be posting the podcast. Everybody, be kind to one another, regardless of your political opinions. It's very important that you don't lose friendships over people that just don't even know you anyway. That's it for now. Sayonara.